Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2019, Career Mode, episode number 36. Still haven't gotten to the first race of the year because there are so much to do in the beginning of January. And I wanted to highlight a little bit of what I'm doing. Certainly not the bulk of it, but just a little taste of how I set my season up, because it does make a huge difference on how your season can and will go. Yes, every race has to be handled appropriately, but having the right riders with the right fitness peaks happening at the right time, all of that is the real make or break for your season, especially with the objectives. So I'm sitting in the planner right now, but I'm going to step away from it for a moment to kind of show you what I've been working on here so far. So, first off, I have a mini spreadsheet. In this case, it's a sticky note that I'm using that breaks down what riders I want for specific scenarios. So, for example, I have a column for mountain rating. McNulty has the best rating here. Vanderpool, Nader also have good ratings. So I have those three listed. And then I have the alternates, the support guys. Those are my leaders in the mountains. My best support guys, Felchi, Mather, Garfield, and Barta are listed. Narvaez doesn't get a mention here. We're getting too low. I have one for hills, for punchy climbs. Same thing. Narvaez, Barta, Owen are clear. And then you have your second tier guys. You can see this one does go a bit further down, but I have a few additional ones listed, and it's actually my longest list. But we're not pushing too deep, like Ooms, not on the list. I have one for time trial and one separately for prologue. I definitely have one for cobbles, and only one rider at the top on this, and only one rider in that secondary support, and then a few just because you've got to have somebody there with them in those races. I have combined sprint and acceleration for one specific reason. On a hill, you need somebody with acceleration if they're going to have a chance to win. But if you're going to have a sprinter, and specifically a sprint stage, it's all going to come down to a combination of how quickly they get up to speed and what their maximum speed are. It's a combination of those two things. So for this tab, for this category, I've combined the two. For example, Philipsen is definitely my guy. Brian is my second guy. But then after that, and the major races, I would have both of them. For a lot of races, I can't bring Philipsen to every sprint stage that there is on the season. He would die. He's 21. He needs a break occasionally. Miguel Bryan, he'll get a lot of races. He will be the sprinter at a lot of races this season. Hopefully it'll help him develop and he could level up and maybe see that rise a bit. It's definitely not our strongest area, and adding in a really strong sprinter will help, but also he needs support. So where are my support guys? Where are my lead out guys? Well, Godry, best example of a lead out guy. He's got a good flat rating. He's got a decent sprint and good acceleration. Ooms really is the other one, just because of the bounce, again with the flat rating. A high ultimate speed, not great acceleration though. But then, looking down, what do you have? Well, for me, look at Sean Bennett. He's a 70 on the flat. He's got an acceleration of 73, so he can gain some speed fairly quickly. and he's not a bad overall speed. So Bennett is an okay lead-out rider in a pinch. Gregory Daniel, another case, not good sprint speed. Okay, you don't want him really sprinting, but he can accelerate if you do, so he can give you a couple hundred meters of picking up the pace. But more importantly for him, he's got a good flat rating. Now, Venepol's got a good flat rating, but I don't want him being a sprint guy. And if you look at this, he's 54. Well, 55 on the sprint. Not good. So, takes a little bit of both. But Gregory Daniel can at least give us a decent earlier lead out. Those final few kilometers, he can be effort 99. So he's not sprinting, but he's high effort on the flat. And he'll give us a pretty decent turn of pace. Now that's one thing that I've done. So that way, as I go through and build my planner, I could see, all right, I need a couple mountain guys, I need a couple hills guys for this stage race, or I need classics riders, I need my cobble guys for this race, so on and so forth. That's one of the biggest pieces I do. But then, so much of the season comes down to one thing in particular, your sponsor, right? Your funding going into the next season. You need that sponsor confidence. The best way to get it is the sponsor objectives, flat out. So, there's more than one way to get that. One, the objectives. Looking at the objectives, I have top 3, top 5, top 10, win. Those show up. Those have something in common. Overall, standings at the end of a stage race. But then you have like the UAE Tour, stage win or wins. Turkey, Baloise. So that's a different animal. That's going and taking a single stage. And not just placing well, but winning. Those are a little more complicated. Require a different group of riders than you might need. Especially, for example, like UAE Tour. UAE Tour, it's 7 stages long. If I brought a team focused entirely for the overall, I'd be looking at time trial. I'd be looking at mountain capable. Maybe a little bit punchy capable. I would not be worried about the sprint. But because the objective is to win the stage, that's what I need to focus on. I need to bring a team that's more heavily suited to the sprint, getting a stage win, because that's probably the best way to do it. Claiming one of those stages. So, I've written down which objectives are stage-oriented, and then, still, yet another piece. Noteworthy results, of course, always matter, but the registered riders. Now, I'm guilty of not giving this enough attention over the years, but it really does make a difference. The registered riders, a rider that's more popular, riding in their own country or region, is part of this. It's not just about having your team leader. In this case, Jasper Philipsen. Jasper Philipsen has the highest reputation by far, and rating by far, of anyone on the team. I can't put Philipsen into every single objective that we have. He's going to end up in a lot of them, though. That's the nature of it. He's going to do the World Tour races and those objectives for the most part. He's going to be our guy to compete against the best. But that doesn't mean he'll be in all. So you might miss some of the objectives. He's not always going to show up on that registered riders list. But it's important to get the most popular rider from the same nation as those races as often as you can in objectives. Well, going back and looking at the team for just a moment here. I have a couple randoms. One Dutch rider, one Colombian, one Swiss, but I've got a bunch of American riders, I have 4 Belgian riders and a couple Italian riders. Now, going back into those objectives, I have races in all 3 of those nations that are objectives. So, I looked through each of those riders, looked at their reputation. Some of them are unknown, many are known at the district level. I really only have a couple riders that are local or better. Logan Owen of the US, and then Philipsen, who's nationally known, so he's by far our most popular guy. And he is Belgian. So the 4 Belgian races, well, it's really important that I try to get Philipsen and Evenepoel to those races. But then there's other things going on. We have multiple races at the same time. So now that we're into the planner, where we're at, what I'm thinking here. So I've got UAE Tour and the Omloop Het Nieuwsblad at the same time. Now, UAE, obviously at the United Arab Emirates, but Omloop Het Nieuwsblad is a Belgian race. It's one of those 4 that I was speaking to. Profile is still a factor. Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, it's a classic, cobbled classic, that I need a pretty high placement on. And I'm not a team built for classics. I'd like to get there. But our second best or our best guy on the cobbles, we lost him. We couldn't afford to keep him. And it was at the same time. Ultimately, I could have paid for him, but I would have missed out somewhere else. And I just know that at this time, I'm not a team built for that. So I'm not going to focus heavily on that. I'm probably going to fail that objective. And for that reason, even though I'd get a bonus for having Philipsen there, I have another objective that's actually even half-star more important at the UAE Tour. That's the stage win objective. 3 sprint stages. I'm looking to win a sprint stage. I need my sprinter for that. So Philipsen is going to UAE, but I am sending Evenepoel to Omloop Het Nieuwsblad. So getting the right racers to the right races, especially the objectives. So here's what I've done so far in planning. Besides this one where I replaced, I did have it selected initially, but I need him at UAE, and we're already into both because of the sponsor objectives. I've taken the top riders from each nation to those home races. So the Strade Bianche Italian race, I've got both my Italian riders. Neither one of them are popular, but maybe, just maybe, we'll get a bonus by having them in that race. There's another one later in the year. The Amgen Tour of California, and that's what these early ones are. So there's the Belgian one, there's Philipsen and Evenepoel. Amgen Tour of California, for the most part, it's already filled out. And I've taken most of the American riders for this one, and then Evenepoel for support for the overall, because it is an objective fighting for the overall. But you can see that's my beginning point. That's my roots. So I've got the right riders for the right races, and then I'm going to start filling out the objectives first and foremost. And then from there, it's going to start coming down to the days. How many days are they signed up for? Now, the tricky thing building a schedule with a Continental Pro team is all those invites. When you're Continental, it's easy. When you're World Tour, it's easy. Your schedule is set in stone day one unless you intentionally add or drop races. But as a Continental Pro team, you're hunting invites to World Tour races. They're more prestigious, they're worth more money, they're going to make your riders happier to participate in. There's a lot more value in partaking in those races. It's going to build the rider profiles, so on and so forth. There's a lot to gain from being in those races. But you only get feedback on if you ask for every race on the entire calendar January 1, which I did. You're only going to get feedback on, 4 of those by January 2nd. The rest are all decided over time. That's tricky. That's really tricky because now you have to sit and wait. And a lot of the time, they don't let you know until a handful of weeks prior to the race. So you have to micromanage your planner a lot more. But at the same time, you got a lot of races anyway. And I don't know about you, but it's really hard for me to sit down in one sitting and plan the entire calendar year out. A couple of reasons. One, it takes a long time. 2, injuries, illnesses happen. So things change on your roster. Like Narvaez, who was injured at the end of last season. We were missing him for quite a while. It kept leaving a vacancy. When it auto-fills, well, if Narvaez is your lead punchy climber, and you're going to a punchy race, and all of a sudden your lead guy is gone, and they fill it in with, say, Cassart, that's a definite downgrade to what you had. And now you might not do anywhere near as well. Now, of course, not having Narvaez, your best punchy rider at a punchy race, obviously you're not going to do as well anyway. But if you get what I'm saying of, maybe you're taking the next best Hills guy instead. And that's going to make a big difference going forward. And maybe you could still salvage a victory with somebody else, like Barta. So, build the objectives, World Tour races first, and then go down from there. Lower profile races, if your calendar is too full, you have too many races, too many days, take those lesser races and leave a few riders behind. Take 4 or 5 guys, depending on what the minimum is, and save your legs for another day. And then the tricky part, and we'll just throw this out there for the sake of what I'm trying to show here, you've got to manage the training calendar too. Manage this, then manage that. And for me, it's all triple plus or inactive. Nothing in between. No single plus, no double plus. I train hard or don't train at all, and I can maintain a high fitness level all season long. You've probably already seen that if you've seen the tutorial or if you've seen the early episodes from last season. Take those off before I accidentally leave that there. But that's how I build my calendar. That's how I'm going to finish building my calendar. And it's going to take a while yet. You can see there's a lot of empty space on this planner. But I could already push to the middle of March just with what's on the screen right now. So I'm going to finish that off, and then I'll be able to get my season started. Our first race, not until the end of the month, Volta a San Juan International. So we're going to be heading to San Juan first with a sprint stage, and I will go straight into it. It's not a high-profile race. I probably won't do all 7 stages, but I do want to show the first race of the year because we're going to have new faces. Team's expanded, it's grown a bit, so I can handle a few more races than we could before. Not that I can do multiple at a time, but it's the legs. I can fill out 2 at a time pretty easily. I'm going to try to not get to 3, as that would make things a bit hectic for us. But I think we have the numbers to do that. What do we even have? 5, 10, 15, 18 riders. Oh yeah. Yeah, we could pull off 3 at once. 6 per race. That's actually quite doable. So technically we could handle 3 if it came down to it. But anyway, I'm going to fill out this section of the planner and then do the training schedule, at least for this chunk of time, for the entire team. And then we're finally going to be ready to go. By the way, there's so much other stuff too. The equipment, the objectives, your staff. I rehired staff at the end of the season. I don't know what happened. Didn't save it. It didn't work. Usually you do work and then you quit. It saves. It auto-saves as you leave. So everything's always there. For some reason, I extended my staff and they went bye-bye. So I've already replaced staff. Not fun for that one, but hey, it is what it is. Good deal. So that's where we're at. Let's get to the end of January and that first race. Thanks for sticking with me for this introductory part to our season, but we're finally ready to go racing. First race of the new season, and I start right away with 0 chance. But that's because this first stage is a sprint stage. It's a stage race, and I have other priorities besides the sprint for this one. So the best sprinter I have here is Ooms, and well, he's not capable as a sprinter, so I'll be lucky to get inside the top 10 for this one. My main objective for this first stage will ultimately be to not lose time. There was a small breakaway for riders. They were just recently reeled in, so this group should stay together to the end. We're already inside 25k. The last little hill of the day is now behind us. We're going to be downhill the final 20k, or at least slightly downhill. And we're getting a little bit of fatigue here in the group, but otherwise we're ready to go to the end. And as we come up 11k to go, just about time I form up my sprint train for, there we go, 10k, that's close enough. So we'll get everyone to 99 now. My real goal is to not lose anybody from the team here, though Garrison's in for really just a stage win, potentially helping with the time trial. Felchi, kind of same thing, helper. Ooms is that sprinter today. Evenepoel is the one we're ultimately riding for the overall. And I'm going to take a deeper look at this in a little bit, but he just leveled up. So between January 2nd and now the end of January, he just leveled up and his average went up a lot. Time trial, 77 now. His mountain rating, a 78 now, and that resistance went up a little bit as well, and recovery. So Evenepoel just became a real strong rider for us. Perfect timing as we begin the new season. I'm pretty sure we just signed a new contract with him, right? Okay, so Ooms, yeah, that 72-64 sprint. Now, who can lead him out is a big question, though. I don't think anybody has. Garrison's got a little bit here. Mater does as well. It's got a little acceleration at least. So we'll go with Mater and Garrison. And then Felchi and McNulty will have quick turns of pace, pulling us to the front. We use both of their gels. I do not want to exhaust either of them. I'd like to save their position in the peloton. Now, can we... The whole team's on the right. Come on. Can we find some space, guys? Stay to the left. 7.5k. We're still fighting to get forward. Come on, Mater. Get through this group. Okay, McNulty, your job is done. Please do not fall off the back. And everybody go ahead and use your gel as we are getting awfully close to the end already.
There are just 5 kilometers left.
Okay, Felchi, you're just about done, but at the same time, I've only got 2 lead-out guys left with 4k to go. Oh no, Mater fell. Oh, of course, that's today's sprinter. There's our sprinter. Alright, looks like he was the one. I think he was feeling the pressure, huh? Felchi. Oh, you're still dropping back. Evenepoel, I want you to get on the back of Ooms now. And suddenly, Ooms is the guy who's going to sprint with 3k to go. So Garrison can't run out too early. So we're going to have to sacrifice position here a little bit. 2.1k. Really? They're going already? Evenepoel, can you... up your pace there. McNulty, Felchi slipping back, but close enough now that they shouldn't lose time. Three guys already gone. Again, though, I'm looking for top 10 more than anything. Garrison, go ahead and give me a 300-meter acceleration. There you go. Ooh, they are losing time, apparently. 800 meters for Ooms. Benapole, go ahead and give your sprint. I don't think they'll actually lose time, but Mater has not gotten up. Oh, no, he has. Okay. That's the important part. He's not actually fighting for the overall. But here is Ooms. There's the clear three guys who got lead outs. And then we've got 5 with us. So right now we're sitting in 9th wheel. Ooms could go forward a little bit, but he's not a sprinter. Moves up a little bit. That's good. Mateo Trenton, who we were looking at but didn't get signed, he went to Mitchelton Scott. Alaphilippe takes 2nd. Lutsenko 3rd. Asgreen. Ooms gets a top 5. That's not a bad result, especially considering he was supposed to be the lead-out guy until, what was that, 4.5K to go in the stage. I don't think McNulty or Felchi lost any time. And here's Ooms just bringing it home. Well, first stage of the season. Peculiar one. Late crash. You don't see that very often in this game. Teams for Tour de France, we did not get in. Trek Segafredo will not be prolonging their sponsorship, so they're going to be having a new sponsor next season. Stage 2 was a hilltop finish. Surprisingly, Evenepoel, not a hills guy, but with those ratings increases, he's getting fairly formidable. He took 3rd behind Alaphilippe and Lopez, and they were 15 seconds clear of the chase group. McNulty was in that chase group. So Evenepoel has a real chance at winning the overall now. Other than maybe Lopez. I mean, Alaphilippe is definitely not that great of a climber. So Evenepoel is certainly in for a shot at the podium. Stage 3 is a sprint stage. You've already seen what I have for sprinting. Not anything. So I'll do that one off camera. I'll see you for stage 4. Okay, so 30 kilometers to go. It's not raining right now, but most of the stage it's been raining really hard. Nasty conditions, and that's led to pretty much a -1 across the board for most everybody. So all 3 of my climbers, top climbers, Evenepoel, Felchi, McNulty, all on a -1 race day condition. But I haven't looked too closely yet to see how badly it's going to affect them. So let's take a very quick look at that. Evenepoel, -1 to the resistance. Felchi, no impact. And McNulty, no impact. So Evenepoel actually the worst affected. Beside Ooms, of course, who's got a -2. And in his case, it's a resistance -2. Now, couple things. One, stage 4 here, it's climbing stage. Evenepoel's still in 3rd overall, so we ride for him. Profile, pretty steep, especially at the end. With the riders that I have here and the nature of the climb, I definitely want to do full team. Full team sprint train style for this climb, and just go through the weaker and weaker guys at the front one by one, as we definitely are among the contenders, and then that way it'll help us hold our position at the front. But also, we're 3.8 kilometers, at least from where Ooms is, 3.7 from the front here, away from a sprint point with 3 seconds available, 3 valuable seconds that we might be able to pick up here unless it's contested otherwise. So I'm going to take, I think, Ooms and Evenepoel, and I'm going to have Ooms immediately go to the front. Then Garrison will take over at the front. So that means McNulty, other than Evenipol is the next guy, and then Felchi, and then Mater, and then that's Garrison. And I'm going to put them on the back end of it. But I want Ooms to go first. Garrison, I'm going to use his gel. Ooms, we're going to save his gel a little bit. There's Evenipol. Okay, so it's... I got caught up a little bit behind Garrison. Get up there. Get up there. There we go. Okay, 2K to go. .3, 1.1. Alright, Ooms, your job is done. Ooms, you're going to slide into your spot, which will be where? Let's see, what is your mountain rating's not good, so you're behind Garrison. Hold on, let's fix this. There we go.
Uh-oh, the pack is quick in the pace.
Ooh, nice. Positioning matters. Grosu went for it. Didn't get there. We got the time. Did use a little bit of energy, but we'll have plenty of time to recover. And Garrison's going to take over at the front, and we're going to go just an 88 for now. Actually, just an 85 for now. So Evenipol, see how much recovery he gets. Used a little more energy than I expected for just 1K simple acceleration kind of stuff. There's Trentine. Twelve and a half K to go. We're starting to slope up. We're at 2.5 right now. Not looking to attack early on, just looking to have comfortable position. Want my riders to last. Mitchelton Scott putting a little bit of pressure on. And for that we need to speed up a little bit. So we don't get swallowed up. Actually, that's the big thing right now, is we're going to get swallowed up if I... Like Evenipol already did. Evenipol's been swallowed up. 2 riders off the front, Jack Haig. One of them, it wasn't contenders.
The riders are in a portion above 10%.
This guy's going for the stage. But Evenipol really caught out here, so Garrison is nearly done. But I need Evenipol back up there before we do any sort of acceleration. It's really hard to find some space here.
And they keep on attacking. Anyone that's low on gas,
oh, there goes Alaphilippe. That's not a good attack for us to leave. Garrison's done. Ooms is not going to last long, but he's going to need to step it up quite a bit here.
You see that? You can read the pain on the faces at the back of the peloton. There's a growing number of riders left behind.
Oh, come on. Why do we keep getting caught? There we go. 6.8K. $96 for him. Get Felchi ready. Set these guys to auto. So we've got 4. There's the group we're chasing. And we've still got a real shot at catching back up. But McNulty is hurting. Felchi is hurting. Mater doing too much damage to our own team.
5 kilometers remaining.
So we'll let him use up his yellow bar here for a moment. There we go. Now that that's gone, we'll use Felchi's. Okay, he's done. He did not last long, unfortunately. Mater doing damage to his own team, really. And McNulty now. 4K to go. Multi almost done. And now it's down to a Venipol. 3K to go. Okay, we've remade contact. So you're going to maintain position here. Alaphilippe, Lutsenko, Zakharin, Hadoon, Toynes, Court Nielsen. Whoa, 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 whoa. Venipol, your energy just disintegrated. We have 6 chasing 2. Oh, Lopez. Lopez was off the front. When did he go? I never even saw Lopez go. Alright, well, Lopez is going off towards the win. With Jack Haig fighting for the stage. Lutsenko, Alaphilippe, Toynes. This is going to drop us down the order just a little bit. But there's the race leader, Alaphilippe. Lopez takes the win. Jack Haig takes second. Solid use of the breakaway for him. Lutsenko, Alaphilippe. Venipol takes 7th on the stage. A little disappointing. Apparently they did not have a negative race day condition. We're getting up to a little bit of a rain-snow mix here right at the top. McNulty takes 18th. Ahead of Cavagna, so that's not a bad finish for him. Mader takes 24th. Felty takes 26th. See what this does to the overall. Venipol clearly in the top 10. Probably still in the top 5, I would imagine. Based on the previous time gaps, but maybe not. It is a minute 51, but he's only 10 seconds down on Toynes. I would imagine he's still ahead of him. Didn't lose any time to Mohoric. Yeah, 5th. Alaphilippe drops to 4th. Oof. Lopez into the race lead. Jack Haig. 77 climber. Has he leveled up? Because that does not look like his real ratings. I mean, Jack Haig is a decent rider. But even here it says he's a puncher. Okay, well, only 5th, but there is a time trial and another mountaintop finish, and hopefully Venipol will be on better form that day, because I think he could still move into the top 3. Stage 5 is the 17-kilometer time trial. We'll be getting to that at the very beginning of the next episode. To wrap up this episode, first off, we did not get into Paris-Nice. We are one of 11 teams looking for 7 slots into the Ronde van Vlaanderen. And McNulty not feeling well. Here's the thing about that. Within the team, and there's a few that have already come back feeling better. Actually, they've all come back feeling better. But over the last week, I've had about 6 riders come down with something and not feel well for about a day or 2. So, been a little bit unlucky with that. But yes, Venipol, huge upgrade for him. He's gone from a 73 to a 76. A lot of that going into mountain and time trial, with a few points here and there elsewise. I know he had like a 70 on the flat. I think his resistance was about a 71, 72. So big upgrade for Venipol at just 20 years of age. Now a 76 overall. Philipsen a 76 overall. That by itself is a big upgrade to where we're going to be for next season. And both of these guys, though expensive, are already signed up for a couple more years. So we've got a long time with these guys. That's huge. The others, McNulty, Narvaez, Ooms, that's where a good chunk of whatever increase we're going to get is going to end up going. And then we'll see if we can't sign one more big name to join these two and see if that could be enough to push us to World Tour status. Not sure it will be enough, but we'll see what we can do. But that's going to do it for this opening episode to the season. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.